Hello, Uganda. Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hotseat on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Kamara. In fact, tonight we are looking into Uganda's land question. But to be specific, securing land rights, support climate change adaptation, and sustainable food systems. And my guests this evening are individuals who have a lot of expertise and knowledge on matters of land. Let me introduce them. I have the spokesperson, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Dennis Obo. Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, and it's great to be back here. Thank you.
We also have the woman district member of parliament for Kiboga and chairperson, Uganda Parliamentarian Land Management Forum, the Honorable Christine Kaya. Thank you so much for joining us, Honorable Kaya.
Thank you for welcoming us on KFM. And once again, I'd like to thank all partners that have made it possible for us to deliberate on these issues. I thank you, and nice program.
Thank you so much for joining us, both of you, and we're looking forward to your submissions because we know that you have taken some time to understand this issue. When it comes to matters of land in Uganda, these matters are very emotive, these matters are very controversial, these matters touch on the livelihood of Ugandans, and it is a question that has not been really solved. But every time, I suppose, as we move forward, we shall be looking on how we can ultimately solve the Uganda's question, but Uganda's land question. So let me begin with you, Honorable Kaya. Why has the Uganda Parliamentarian Land Management Forum organized this national symposium which is coming on land governance in Uganda?
We have different reasons why we would like to improve land governance in Uganda. But this time around, we want to focus too much on the climate change challenge and also the food security issue in Uganda. And so we want to improve the governance of land such that climate change adaptation and mitigation is possible, but also food and nutrition security is also possible. So this time around, we are also collecting views, because for some of you have been following up with the land debate in Uganda. Our national land policy has expired. We are supposed to review it every after 10 years, and the 10 years are here with us in 2024. So we must present a platform through which we listen to the people, different stakeholders, to give us their views. And these views are going to help the crafters, I would say the crafters, the technical people from the ministry, to incorporate some of these changes before they actually bring the document to Parliament. So we look at the symposium as a platform for generating views, and at the same time for hearing from the people themselves about what is hindering them, especially in the area of land governance. Because land governance has a serious implication on land dispute management. The moment the institutions we have mandated to manage our land have issues, then we are bound to receive a lot of disputes, which sometimes even the courts may not handle, which even sometimes the alternative mechanisms within our communities, and call it cultural mechanisms, call it religious mechanisms, may not be able to handle. So we would like to, first of all, ask accountability for the best governance from institutions that we offer taxes, institutions that stand due to the remittances we give from the national coffers.
And I want Honorable Kaya just to look to an individual in Uganda, especially on matters of land. Today, almost in every district, you'll find controversial issues pertaining to land grabbing. People are stealing land. People are killing each other for land. In fact, in the areas of Greater Luwero, recently we had two ladies who killed their mother because of land. What is making this land issue so emotive and so controversial in Uganda? Today you don't want to wake up one day and you find you have an issue over land with your neighbor, because it may never even get concluded. It can go to the next generation even.
And the reason why disputes are escalating is because there are some challenges with the governance. We start with the budget itself, but we also start with the morals, also the deaf ear on what is really perturbing our people. Sometimes we try to generalize issues on all tenure systems, land tenure systems. But when you try to look at the disputes within Buganda region, where Mailo tenure is eminent, when you compare the disputes here and disputes somewhere else, as if the disputes are more prominent here. Actually, the most disastrous disputes are here. So which means that we failed to provide for certain provisions in our Land Act. That is what it means. Because even when you follow the Land Act to the dot, you still have questions. So what does that mean? That we need to wake up. We are very disappointed that we spent billions of money conducting an exercise, Deva Mugemereire business, and it came up with resolutions which we thought would direct Uganda in terms of reducing on what? On disputes. But unfortunately, the report, after getting handed over to the president, we thought now it would be for the public institutions to begin looking out for what did the report recommend me to do. What can I improve as a land office? What can we improve as surveyors? What can we improve as land owners?
So, Honorable Kaya, are you suggesting that the Bamugemerere, commission has not given much value to Ugandans?
No, it gave value because what they were supposed to do, they did it. For them, they gave the accountability. They provided a report of the entire exercise, the summary of the entire exercise, and what they recommended Uganda to do. But after the report was shared,
Let me come. We have the spokesperson of the entire ministry with us. We are honored to have you, Mr. Dennis Oboa. The issue of Ugandans securing their rights on their land has been an issue. But I remember the law that was giving security of tenancy should have been it to help those who have been living on a particular part of land for 12 years to be secure. And especially here in Buganda, where there's a lot of problem, like Honorable Christian Kaya is saying, land right, securing it for local Ugandans seems to be something that is not. It's elusive. How do you respond?
Well, the law that would govern, I will restrict myself also to the Mailo tenure system, although it could be a bit broader. But if you look at the Mailo tenure system, the law that we use, there are basically two laws. There may be others, but the most important ones are the Registration of Titles Act and the Land Act. Now, the Registration of Titles Act is a law of 1930. We have taken long to update, reform. Many new things have happened, have come up, and this is a law that needs actually to be reviewed and reformed, not only on these issues of landlords, tenants, but the world has changed. We've now become digital and technological, and all these things are not captured in that law. Now, if you also look at the Land Act itself, it provided many provisions in that law, some of which were we have seen some of them actually have caused more damage. I will give an example.
Yes.
We have so many tenants in this country. The law provided for the landlord, the tenants' rights and obligations, but it also required that each part actually should have legal documentation. Landowners have titles, but when it came to the tenants, the bona fide, of course, the bona fide, the new category also, creation of the 1995 Constitution, and then there are the lawful, those who had been paying busuru, their grandparents. Now, it said these people may, if they want, get these documentations, the certificates of occupancy. It didn't make it mandatory. And that is the beginning of all the problems we have here.
So let me ask, that Land Act, you have a place like Buganda.
Yes.
People migrated into Buganda, let's say, in the 1980s. and they settled in different parts of land where you even have absentee landlords. So this, if they have been staying on this land for 12 years, does the law allows them, gives them the mandate to stay on that land?
The law protects those who are on the land from 1983 backwards. Those are the 12 years. But if you came on 12 years and you count 12 years, let's say from this year, actually you are not a bona fide.
Yeah, but I don't know the framers of the law. You realize Kampala, which is in Buganda,
yes,
they started attracting people from all over, even before 1982, 1983. So it is possible that you have people who have migrated and occupied land, yes, that is actually not theirs, and this law comes and just cements their stay on a land that is not theirs.
So the land law stipulated that if you fall in such a category, then you have to take steps, look for the landlord and regularize your stay on that.
What does that mean? Regularizing, what does that mean?
It didn't envisage eviction. You had to look for your landlord, come up, agree on the terms, and utilization of then you use the land. But what has happened is that, of course, as you've said, most are absent, they are not seen, you don't know who they are. Transactions have taken place. The people on the land have never seen these new landlords. They come and stay in Kampala this way. So you do not know. All you know is that if you carry out a search at the land office, it gives you a name of a person, but you have never seen that person. You've inquired, but is this person from our village? You've never seen him or the absentee landlords. But in actual sense, if you come into the legal arena, that person is definitely a registered proprietor, known under the law, and you cannot deny him his rights.
Honorable Kaya, what can Parliament do to protect the land rights of Ugandans?
Yeah, much as I would be very interested in fronting the land rights of women, but women are also part of the Ugandans. So we have already identified the gaps that need to be filled up. For example, in the recent institutional rationalization exercise, we thought that institutions like district land tribunals would be reinstated. Rationalization didn't mean swallowing up. Maybe we would also resurrect some other institutions. And for us as land rights activists, we thought that district land tribunals would be reinstated to help our people. We were just wondering which woman can follow up with her land issues with the High Court. So it becomes very difficult. And then there is a big challenge with the landlord-tenant relationship in the current Land Act. With certain provisions are voluntary, Voluntarily, when you want to sell your tenancy, reach out to your landlord. We also see there are certain cultural beliefs, cultural attachments, which are not properly aligned to the laws. For example, you are free to give your daughter land, but your daughter is not free to pass on such land to her children. And those are cultural setbacks. In Uganda, we call them abajwa. So usually women, when you go to Buganda villages, women of 60 years, women of 70 years, now they are the most sellers of Bibanja. It's like, let me sell my portion. I know when I die, I will not accommodate my kids. So I better sell it and enjoy the money now. So their culture...
They can allow them to sell their land, but they cannot allow them to bequeath it to their children.
And even the selling, in most cases, it is within the family. Saying, auntie, and so would like to sell out his land. You people, we should not allow this land to go out of our clan. Whoever has money, please collect the money and we'll give it to
which may not be in the market value.
There are moments when these girls have already given out their land to their kids. And in clan meetings, that is the first discussion. But we have to recover our peace as if it has gone to strangers. Yet the people have taken this land. And then because where Milo is common, is also the capital and is also the best place where people would like to stay. So as Buganda, which also accommodates Kampala and some of the luxurious places here, many people have wanted to own pieces here.
Honorable Christine Kaya and Mr. Dennis Obo, hold on to your points because we're going to take a break and the hot seat will be right back.
The hottest debate on all relevant topics, live on KFM's Hot Seat tonight.
933 KFM.
KFM's Hot Seat. Hot Seat. Hear the real story behind the story. Coming right at you. Only on 933 KFM.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Dennis Obol, spokesperson, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and Honorable Christine Kaya, District Woman MP Kiboga, and Chairperson of the National Symposium on Land Governance in Uganda. And we're looking at the land rights in Uganda. You know, earlier, Honorable Kaya was talking about how women are affected differently because of the patriarchal nature of our society. Women are at a disadvantage. You at the ministry, do you appreciate that? Is there a way how you're looking at making sure that the woman of Uganda is actually on the same footing with the man on matters of land?
You know, in Uganda, registered land for under all the tenure systems is about 20%. That is for the freeholds, the Milo leases. Most customary land, 80%, it's not registered. Now, if you look at what is registered, the 20, it is only like I think 15% of 20%. That is registered for women. We have seen that for sure. Women are the users of the land. They even own this land, but they have not secured legal documentation. That is for true. And of course, there are so many reasons. The patriarchal system is one of them. Where we have seen women on these land documents, they are either as witnesses, signing that yes, we know that this is a man, a brother, a husband, a son. You know, when they put that one, they don't have to front themselves, you know, because of the socialization that we've been through. So it brings the number down. If they are not signing as neighbors, then they're signing as witnesses. And a witness, a neighbor cannot be an owner. So that has been our first challenge. In the law, if you look at the Land Act, and I think it's in Section 5, it has properly captured that when you go to demarcate, you must ensure that you capture the land rights of women, minors, absentee persons, persons with disabilities, and other vulnerable groups. So to me, I think the law is okay if we are looking at women land rights, but it is when it comes to filling the form. If you are not captured on that application form in Part A, then you have totally lost out. So it takes us back again to making sure that as we move out to do these interventions, especially now that we are registering customary land, which is 80% of the land, we have actually emphasized that we must capture the users and owners of this land. If it is a family setting, the wife or the wives must be captured. And it has happened. And tremendously, what we are seeing is that what we have so far done, actually women about 59% on the registration of what we have done where we've had these pilot interventions. So we think if we roll this out, we should be able to bring that balance back to having 51% women and
Honorable Kaya, I can imagine as a member of parliament, you're moving across the region to, to benchmark and see how other countries are dealing with matters of land. For example, in Tanzania, it seems to be that land belongs to the state and so is the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. What are the advantages when land is in the hands of the state, as opposed here in Uganda where we have different tenure systems, majorly individual ownership of land?
Mr. Kamara, you remember I belong to the National Unity Platform Party in Uganda, led by Honorable Chagulanyi Ssentamu.
I know that, especially when you gave a political knockout to somebody in Kiboga. That was not easy.
Very well that we still have challenges with the management of this country and governance of this country. There are a number of processes that would wish to go on, but when you look at the governance of the country, you're like, wait on. The reason why some people were even against the extraction of oil is not because we don't want proceeds from the oil extraction, but we are wondering there isn't transparency in what we are going to extract, and then we are not ready with what will cap the emissions from the oil extraction, and then how the proceeds are going to benefit Ugandans. So the same applies to land. currently, with the leadership we have in Uganda, we cannot afford to leave land in the hands of the government or the leaders. Currently, we can't. We shall have made a mistake, probably with another president or some top leadership. But currently, because where they have even just tested, where somebody just tries to get land elsewhere other than his or her place, you hear the land grabs currently. They occur in places different from where people are born.
But you come from a district, Honorable Kaya, that has received so many Ugandans and even non-Ugandans from across this country. Kivoga is such a cosmopolitan area. You find the Bahima, the Banyarwanda, the Bachiga, the Bakonjo, the Banyoro. Yeah, everybody's in there. Yeah. And you seem to be living in a harmonious kind of relationship with those who have come. And there are those who are indigenous Baganda who are in Kivoga. So how has Kivoga done it?
No, we are not okay. Actually, if you are to rate the level of land disputes in the country, I don't think Kivoga can exceed the 5th position.
Okay.
In terms of having land disputes. So we are badly off. So sometimes people just keep quiet because they have nothing to do. But there are moments when they also try to show that, we are badly off by bringing people like me.
Kivoga is in Buganda, but sometimes when you hear and see the ethnic mix, in some places, you're like, is this really Buganda?
Yeah. We have to remind the people that Kivoga is in Singo, Saza, yes. And Singo, Saza is in Buganda, and we have Mairo Tenwa, Land Tenwa, and the operation actually even on leases, even on freehold within Kivoga, recognize the landlord and tenant. And we want to remind the people who would like to buy land or who would like to possess any land in Kivoga and similar districts, Kato Corridor, that the tenant-landlord relationship is still very important. And Mairo land is a culture. Mairo land is Buganda. So it is one of the norms of Buganda. So it is like touching on it or even thinking of removing it. You have removed Buganda, which we can't allow. So people who come, we have always insisted that you have to observe this norm of recognizing the tenants, of recognizing landlords. We have many people who are buying tenancy, Bibanja in Kivoga, and they want to think that they are the landlords. And we don't think that as politicians we are only supporting and helping tenants. But we have a number of landlords who are also crying out.
So the landlords, anywhere they are in Uganda and Buganda in particular, in the long run, the cultural norm of landlord-tenant relationship, will it be sustainable? Like, as we move on, can they still be paying allegiance in some way to the landlord? Because it looks like it may be done away with time.
And we are suggesting, no, it may not be done away with time, but we are suggesting that we increase the budget for the land fund. The land fund should be seen to have some money. There are many landlords who have been disappointed. Like I told you, they don't derive livelihoods from their land, and they wish to
derive something.
Yes. So they are ready. In Kivoga, I have very many who have applied. They have not only applied, but they are interested in selling out their landlord interests. So, but the land fund is empty.
Okay. Yeah. So now, Mr. Bo, this is something that you have to react to, according to what Honorable Kaya is talking about.
Yes, it is true that the monies that are put in the land fund are actually inadequate. If you look at the demands, especially of the landlords who want, as part of resolving this issue of multiple rights on the same piece of land. But then also, whatever monies have been put have been used first to resolve the historical injustices that happened in Bunyoro. It had been given priority. We know what happened, Kabarega's press and all these things. Now, I think with money coming, we have been informed that we are going to be receiving actually an increase. We are yet to see this increase. But if you don't have money in the land fund, the purpose for the land fund was to resolve such issues where occupants can access it, get soft loans, and pay off the landlords so that they now gain the registrable interests. It has worked in some places. And of course, landlords might not be happy because the Busulu Busuru ranges between 5,000 to, I think the highest is 50,000, Kampala. But if you see a tenant on 3 acres and is ferrying lorries and lorries, it doesn't augur well with the landlords. Now, what has happened and what is in the policy? The policy envisaged that with time, as places, urbanize, you'll have these tenants build, let's say, apartments. They can't then continue paying 5,000. Yeah, so as development comes, and this is where the boards come in, they have to look at these urban areas and see so that we move away from paying the nominal rent to now paying economic. But the economic should also be so high that it actually does what? It discourages the tenants. Okay, Mr. Dennis Obo and Honorable Christian Kaya, we're going to take a break and the hot seat will be right back.
KFM's Hot Seat. It's hot, it's live, provocative, and digs deep into the issue.
933 KFM.
The hottest debate on all relevant topics, live on KFM's Hot Seat tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant topics every weekday, 7 to 8 p.m.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Honorable Christine Kaya, District Woman MP Kiboga, and Chairperson, National Symposium on Land Governance in Uganda, and Mr. Dennis Obo, Spokesperson, Minister of Land, Housing and Urban Development. Now, you have this National Symposium coming on, and so what should we expect as the people of Uganda that would be of benefit from this National Symposium?
Dear members, like other sectors also prepare platforms through which they listen to different stakeholders, through which they relate with Parliament to update them with what is paining them, update the ministry with what we are going through. So the same applies to the land sector, that it is imperative to find some time, to find some platform through which you discuss with different stakeholders. And this time around, we have come up with a theme that really strengthens land governance, its ability to help improve or strengthen actions on climate change adaptation and mitigation, and also food and nutrition security. We would like to stress it so much, especially when it comes to climate change adaptation. I know with mitigation, there are more males that are interested in this side. But when it comes to adaptation and food security, we see that it has a lot of allocation to the female creature.
Okay, let's try to put this in context, because Uganda is an agricultural country and we're depending on rains. So what would a typical woman, a farmer, get to ensure that the changes of climate do not affect her productivity? Because you would need water, but is water going to be given available, some kind of, be provided through irrigation? What would be provided?
Now that is how we remember the need for land governance. Because water, when you look at the land titles provided, they not only look at the surface, but they also look at the underground minerals and some items above the land. So that means that we must ensure that we strengthen, for example, the security of the landowners that probably own places with wetlands. Some people don't want to hear that there are people in wetlands that need compensation. But I affirm and confirm to people that before the 1995 Wetlands Act, there are people whose land titles had wetlands in them. Okay. So it is not easy for you to just wake up and say, just give up with the wetland free of charge. No. So there are some categories that need to be compensated. So all people who own land that, for example, has wetlands, we need to handle them with some care. And then the awareness raising to some of those people. Because remember, when we even think of the mini grids under energy, we are not going to target the main big rivers. We are going to target small rivers in our localities. So if the landowner is not friendly, if there is no safety of such a natural resource that can generate energy, that can generate water for irrigation, then when we talk about climate change adaptation, we are far away. So everything, when you look at climate change adaptation, the provisions that we have always shared with you people shall be held on land. So that is why there is a big relationship between land tenure security and climate change adaptation or mitigation. Because most of these action, even these other environmentally friendly practices like mulching, drainage management within plantations and all that, all those are done on land. And now, very many men have left women in the gardens because they have been disappointed by climate change. So somebody feels it is better to do border business. But the issue of food security in a household is still on it has a female face.
But you are a member of parliament. Even though you sit on the other side of the aisle, you still have a job of appropriation. When you're making a budget, you should think about that poor farmer who needs maybe water for production, and we see the money that is budgeted in agriculture increase. If it doesn't increase, then climate change adaptation is just going to be in words, but in action we won't see it.
Yeah, we have been advocating for the increase in the budgeting, but of recent you also saw that there are moments when we say no, and then the final decision is yes. There are moments when we say yes, and then the final decision is no. So those things are there. But also, based on what we are undergoing with the 4 decades of the current president, it is becoming very expensive for us to maintain that seat. So in order for somebody to really run this country, must be more of the national cake should go to the security, should go to the protection of the seat. So we see that there is a lot of spending. So you bring issues
on regime survival.
Yes, you bring issues of farmers, irrigation. Somebody will ask you, so if we don't provide irrigation equipment to the farmers, will that shake Mr. Museveni's seat? No, you first wait. That one is not a priority.
Let me come here to Mr. Bor. So here is the National Symposium on Land Governance. And you as a ministry, what are the things that you think you'll benefit from this that will be of value to the rest of us in Uganda?
We have to share the pilots that we have done to try to cause the fundamental change in this country and ensure that tenure security is restored, especially on Milo. For Milo, we have piloted issuing the legal documents to tenants, and we have seen the challenges that we have. Most people hold titles, the landlords, but they have not actually updated them. Titles are in the names of the dead persons, so you cannot actually transact on them. They have their reasons why they keep them like that. So even if somebody is paying busulu, they are not sure whether this landlord is actually the actual one or not. And then, of course, remember, the law provided that if you have given legal documentation to occupants, you must encumber the Milo titles so that any person who is coming to search knows that these are actually the tenants of this land, so that they are not branded trespassers. Now, it has worked and worked very well where we have piloted this. We have done it in Kasanda, Mitiana, Mubende. Mubende, we issued a number of certificates, Madudu sub-county, and where we've done this, we have restored peace and harmony and prosperity. Remember, it is these tenants, the smallholder farmers, they are the ones who produce food that comes to Kampala. So, in a way, we want to show that actually where we have done these interventions, productivity has increased and the country has been food secure. We also want to showcase where we have done the registration of customary land. In this country, 80% of the land is customary. Most of it is not registered. We are crying we don't have money, but this is where money is going to come from. If you see the 20% of the land that is registered, it generates revenue of about 950 billion. I think that's what we have done ever since the land information system was put in place. So there are these opportunities that we want to go into. The subsequent transactions on titles done by on certificates of occupancy and on certificates of customer ownership are definitely going to bring in a lot of money. Then, of course, there are the land use issues, the food security. Even this, we want to bring in the link between physical planning and ownership and how we have to comply with this, ensure that we do not actually convert more land from agricultural land again into the real estate business that we are seeing. We shall also be able to showcase the good benefits that we have seen in our land information system and how it has actually helped resolve issues, especially on issuing the multiple titles on the same piece of land.
But do you appreciate the fact that the Ugandans have been tilling the same land like how our forefathers did, but the land which used to be arable is now losing that value of the arable land, and because of climate change, and so it's not giving the producing like it used to.
Yes, and that means that we have to come in to restore what we have actually degraded. The forest cover that we have destroyed, we have to come in. And indeed, as I know, we have over 500 titles that are up for cancelling. But again, it comes back to our own people. They got these titles irregularly, and when you want to cancel to restore the environment, you're taken to court, and then you have all these interim orders, don't do this, don't do this. So it bogs us down.
Okay.
But at least the system has shown that you can actually bring back the wetlands, the forest cover, and the other gazetted areas.
All right.
In order to cut down on conflicts.
Mr. Dennis Obo and Honorable Christine Kaya, we're going to take a break. When we come back, my producer will open the lines so that you too who is listening, you can be a part of this discussion. We want you to have your say on this matter. We'll be right back.
KFM's Hot Seat. It's hot, it's live, provocative, and digs deep into the issues. It's KFM's Hot Seat. KFM's Hot Seat. Hot Seat. Hear the real story behind the story. Coming right at you. Only on 933 KFM.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight are Mr. Dennis Obo, spokesperson, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Christine Kaya, District Woman MP, Kiboga, and we're discussing matters of land. I already have callers online. Okay, this is the moment for you to have your say. I have a call online. Hello.
Yes, hello.
What's your name and where are you calling from, and what's the issue?
This is Alonso Godwill calling within Kampala.
Okay.
My issue about land issues in Uganda just need prayers, because I lost my father because of the issue of land. I wanted to ask this panelist, how can I retrieve my land or family land back after 10 years?
Maybe you have to put some context on how you lost that. I hope they will be able to say anything, but maybe give a simple story, very briefly.
Okay. This land belongs to my father, but because the community saw that it was marked, the community started encroaching on my father's land till they killed my father. That's when they now accessed the land. So currently I'm landless, and I just left the land that they killed my father off.
Okay, I have two people here. One is a legislator and one speaks for the Minister of Lands. Perhaps they can navigate through this question. That seems to be very difficult. I have another call online. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Patrick. Thanks for the show.
You're welcome.
Talking to Ekode.
Yes, Ekode.
I have two questions, one for each guest. I can start with the spokesperson, the Minister of Health, and the Minister of Lands. My concern, and what bothers me, that means, is when it comes to issue people construct in the wetlands, do they collide with the Uganda Investment Authority? Because there are people who also give out land to the investors. Then at the end of the day, we start to cry what's happening with the tribes in our country. So, is it the Minister of Lands which orders those land titles, these investors? Then two, it's about the parliament. Last, I want to say that I supported the Justice Bamugare's tribunal land issue. I remember that time. And it was so awesome. The public supported it. But after, it doesn't know what happened in the report. The report is hidden in the State House. We are here we don't know what to recommendation, how to tackle land issues in our country. How can Parliament come on board and they start to claim for the report, for the public to understand?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kode. I have another call online. Hello.
Patrick, Juma Busega here.
Juma Busega, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, and you?
I'm okay. So go right ahead with your question or comment.
I would like to say, NEMA, wake up. NEMA, wake up. NEMA, they are good in policy advocates, but they don't put it in use. 2, they are good at running after someone planting rice in the swamp area, but they will lead, Mesa will clear the whole 20 acres within the wetland. 3, land title which are forged. I think NEMA is supposed to collaborate with the elders, the local leaders, the elders who knew the background of the land. But they are being compromised daylight broad.
Very much. Let me just maybe take one more so that my guest can respond to you at once. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Ben from Kuno.
Sorry?
Ben from Kuno.
Ben in Mukono. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, I have this issue of land.
Yes.
Yeah, it was my grandfather's land. So there are some people who also want to just take over that land. But my grandfather has been there for like more than 20 years. And these are the people who have come there after seeing that we are trying to put some constructions. They have now come up that they want to, that land was theirs.
Okay.
So right now that issue is under the chairman, and it is still going on. They are telling me they will be ruling it soon. But
okay, Ben, with all respect, I'm sure the panel now may not get into that issue to be able to find a solution. But I'm sure now that it is under the chairman and you're taking the legal channels, I suppose they can maybe help you to find a solution. Let me ask my panelists. I think Mr. Dennis Obo, you had more questions, but also there was a question for Christine Kaya, Honorable Christine Kaya.
Yes.
Very briefly, Dr. Bo.
Yes, thank you. The first caller mentioned that land issues need prayers. That is true, but we also need to learn from the Bibles before we pray, or our books that we read. And please take note, Jeremiah chapter 32, and I think it's verse 1 to 15. Jeremiah acquired a piece of land. It was, I think, a Chibanje field. He immediately registered it and he got legal documentation. That was BC, So registration of land is biblical. It is something that actually helps one have evidence to show the whole world that this is yours. If you don't follow what is in the Bible and you don't implement these things, then we face all these challenges. I think that one, I would advise him that, if you have lost land again and somebody has got it, you know what these people do after you have gotten it from you? The first thing they do is to register it. That's all what grabbers do, and that people don't learn. It is after a title has come out that now the dispute begins. So we now have that layer. We also have an author photo, which clearly will show if that actually this is papyrus. So the system will automatically click, and such titles shall not be issued. And it has helped us at least to mitigate. Then the gentleman who said NEMA should wake up. Yes, NEMA needs to be supported. This cannot only be done by NEMA. We all need to join hands together, because when the environment hits back, it affects all of us, not only NEMA. So we all need to wake up. If you have a title and it's in a wetland, bring it back for cancellation. Don't go to court to stop the process. Or if you know that you acquired it illegally, please, I think just get out of the wetland and restore it. And lastly was the gentleman from Mukono, his father also claiming land. You know, claiming land by word of mouth is not enough. There are laws. The Constitution has put in place this Article 237 and said, if you own land, then it has to be in either of those 4 tenure systems, and provided procedures for it to
all right.
So.
In the interest of time, Honorable Kristen Kaya, there was a question to you, but also you'll give us the concluding remark. That's in a minute.
Yeah, dear listeners, we may not be able to accomplish all that, respond to all the questions, but I would like to remind you that we have area land committees at sub-county levels, at least. So in case you have any question, approach them. And I also appreciate the supporters of this program. I would like to remind you that, for example, Ukobak in Chiboga district is in 4 sub-counties of Nkandwa, Chiviga, Muwanga, Bukomero, Nakasozi, Muwanga and Bukomero. So you can use their expertise to help out yourself in registration of your take. Go by what you promise to do. Otherwise, this business of even failing our technical staff to monitor what you are doing in the wetland is becoming common, and then we do not want it. And we would like to also implement Bamugamerere recommendations, especially the ongoing reviews. We would like to use them because really people gave in their own and we lost country money. I will end by calling on all people to come and celebrate with us Chiboga District Women's Day this coming Tuesday 28th, and we shall be in Chiboga Town Council Saza ground, and we are calling on land rights activists to come and speak to the women, because the theme for this year's Women's Day was equality for economic development.
All right. Honorable Kristen Kaya, District Woman MP Kiboga, thank you so much for your time. Mr. Dennis Oboro, spokesperson, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. We want to thank you both, but most of all, you, the listener, we want to thank you for the privilege of your company. Good night and God bless Uganda.
The hottest debate on all relevant topics, live on KFM's Hot Seat Tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant topics every weekday, 7 to 8 p.m.